Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
And it was such a bad seizure, I almost broke the window. And
because it was causing confusion, right? And frontal lobe behavior. She tried punching out the window. On our way back, they had the sheriff sitting near us in case I needed help. Because she was like out of control. So many seizures going off from the air pressure.
And another light one is like ones that move around or movie theater. Because if it's too big of a screen, it's too much of light. But like on tablets or phone, that's a good amount.
In a well-lit area, yeah.
Sometimes, unless I had a seizure, then I shouldn't use those kind of lights, tablets or phone, because it could go back in a seizure. Books can cause seizure.
Reading the letters on the paper, the black and white.
No. Wow.
Oh yeah, we're talking. There's been a lot. So what happened was we started the ketogenic diet in around 2018, and in 2021, Haylee had basically a clear EEG. There was one slow spike wave without formation. So he was like, "It's clear."
Yeah, and then even another one of a kind of vibration is like rollerblading.
Oh yeah, which
hiking would be okay because it doesn't have
because it's still got the vibration of the tires.
No, now it's okay because of the seat. There's a game better.
Okay.
But still vibration like rollerblades as well.
Yeah, right? Rollerblades have smaller wheels. They pick up a lot more of those bikes. You get a fat tire bike, it's probably not so bad.
So what happened was we started the ketogenic diet. 2021, basically clear EEG. 2022, basically clear EEG. The problem was that Haylee was she's on the ketogenic diet. She's got specific amount of glucose we expect for her and ketones, and she's got these beautiful EEGs. They're doing the EEGs. We ran ones at home. So as these EEGs are clear, she's actually going into hypoglycemic and excessive ketosis issues, to the point that we were giving her 2 liters of apple juice, fruits, everything. Her diet went from a 4-to-1 down to a 1-to-1 ratio, and she was still suffering.
Oh, no.
She had, it was hilarious because the EEG tech is checking her and looking at it and going, "It's clear," as I'm giving her apple juice to down to fix her glucose.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I think once after that, I think they took it off the diet or something.
Yeah, and so 2021 for a little bit.
I could eat regular food like from restaurants.
We went to White.
How was that? I mean, even just like sometimes when you're stuck in such a regimen, you just want to try something different. And they'd say, "No, you can't have it. No, you can't have it. You can't have that piece of pizza or that one thing that you'd really love to have, a candy bar, whatever, anything." And now all of a sudden you can have something. What was that like? That must have been amazing.
Are you talking about before or
no, when you
got that little period of time when you got to eat more of what you wanted?
It was much more better because before
what did you have?
Before was I was eating spoonful of cannabis and having insured drinks because they didn't have those.
So before the diet, back in 2008, when Haylee started, is what she's mentioning here. She was because of the seizure, she couldn't chew because her tongue was chewed, so she was drinking Ensures.
Oh, got it.
When she started about cannabis and butter, we literally took that vaporized spent product, like we didn't completely spend it out, right?
Yeah.
And we mixed it with a tablespoon of butter, and she was eating her cannabis on a spoon mixed with butter, and that's how she had to eat it. And she's like, she did not like that at all.
Yeah. I mean,
Horrible.
butter's great, but it can be a little much.
But
Wow.
now, so then she did the ketogenic diet. We had this issue with her with the hypoglycemia and we had our dietitian. We contacted over 400 people on the listserv of dietitians and doctors.
Really?
2 years in a row, 2021 and 2022.
Wow.
Nobody had an answer. Endocrinology, no answer. Neurology, no answer. The answer was keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, that's not working.
Yeah.
We're not, these are too much. So September 2022, I contacted Dr. William Courtney. And first thing we had to figure out was how do we get it in our diet? Because how do I figure out what the carbohydrate, protein, and all that is?
Exactly.
Plus, we measure, like, we weigh her salts and her potassium and stuff. And we wanted, you know, I turned to raw cannabis because my hope was that maybe it'll help a little bit to keep her strong enough to get through 2023 summer. That was my whole goal after 2022 summer. And I spent all that time from September until March 27th when we implemented a quarter of her prescription from Dr. Courtney.
Wow.
And in January, so I did back testing with it, like for the baseline. So because she has blood and ketose and glucose testing every day, all the time, that's how we know when these problems are happening as well.
Right.
I took data from January 1st, 2023, all the way through till September, the end of September 2023.
Okay.
And she started her raw cannabis on March 27th, 2023. The baseline prior to, in January, she had 75 hypoglycemic issues that required intervention of juice and fruit and vegetables in order to, and we're talking large amounts. She didn't go to the hospital.
For anybody who's listening to this and doesn't understand, it's like if somebody gets a hypoglycemic issue and you're diabetic or whatnot, sometimes you just drink a little apple juice or orange juice and you're back in shape. But if that doesn't cut it, like you're talking, I mean, this is like on multiple scale.
Oh, this was way off the charts. Like the hospital, we had her IV, they were watching. It was bad. Like they were worried about risk of a heart attack because these things were everything was bottoming out. Her body could not hold its strength. And then we get it settled for a bit and it would last a little bit and then it would tank right out. And we're talking days, 24/7, every 15 minutes checking her glucose, trying to keep it above 3. Wow. Like it was bad. She even hit a 1.9 and she was going unconscious, throwing up. It was so bad. So bad. And so going into 2023, I was terrified because her diet had gone from a 4-to-1 to in just before the worst issues in 2021, the summer 20. Oh, I'm sorry. Just since the issues in 2021, that summer, gone from a 4-to-1 now down to a 2-to-1.
Wow.
And it was like, pushing for a 3-to-1, but we didn't know. And it was like from January 2023 till March 27th. I mean, we have the list because the dietitian, obviously, they have like when you change the ratios, and you can see the ratios go down, and then we start the raw cannabis, and the ratios start going back up.
Wow.
Yeah, and what happened was in 41 days, on just a quarter, we started to see stability. We had only 25 incidents that did not require any medical intervention.
Wow.
By September, yeah.
So you're consuming this. Is it a juice form that you're drinking that she's consuming?
It is juice and microgreens. And we're actually
Can't wait to
focusing on
talk about microgreens because I grow microgreens. That's part of my
microgreen cannabis.
yeah. I've never done.
THCA strains.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. That makes me so happy because I grow. I have a nonprofit that we do therapeutic horticulture, and I grow microgreens as a fundraiser, and I grow them for my own health as well. And we grow, I don't know, a dozen different types, but I never thought. I mean, I've heard of people doing cannabis microgreens. I guess the question is, where do you get enough seeds?
Well,
And
yeah, that's
because I go through a lot of seeds, planting
oh
microgreens,
yeah. Oh,
pounds
yeah,
and pounds
yeah,
of seeds. Yeah.
yeah. And right now,
When I did take the microgreens and the cannabis, I it's more filling for me than just taking the cannabis, because
Yeah.
like
just
the
the
juice,
cannabis
right?
and you're drinking it, it's not really that filling at all and makes you really hungry. But when you
Yeah.
take it with the microgreens and
Yeah, because it's filling you up
cannabis,
as you're doing it. Yeah.
it makes it more filling and able
Yes.
to have more meals.
I am so happy to hear this. Like this, when I saw your bio and I read microgreens, I'm like, yay, that's the
Oh yeah, oh
I
yeah.
love microgreens. And the thing that's so great about them is for people who don't understand microgreens is literally like all the energy that plant needs is in that seed, right? The plant doesn't need any food or any, it just needs water to activate it. And then from the time that plant grows up, that first cotyledon leaf, and then that first new set of leaves, at that moment right there, it's considered a microgreen. And it has all that energy in it. And so when you eat that microgreen, you're eating everything but the roots, and you literally have the magic that's in that seed. And that's, if you understand what that means, it's like unlimited. Like it's literally, there's everything in there in this little teeny cup. Like they say, like broccoli microgreens, I study a lot because they're just amazing. But there's 40 times the amount of benefit in this little teeny microgreen. So it'd be like if you eat a cup of microgreens, you're eating like 40 cups of broccoli worth of goodness.
Exactly.
And who's going to eat 40 cups of broccoli? But you can eat a cup of microgreens. So it's incredible. I'm so
exactly.
glad.
And that's exactly how it should be looked at. Like you
Yes.
get your alfalfa sprouts, you get whatever,
Yes.
right? Same thing.
Yes,
Same thing.
exactly. And that's what I always loved Dr. Courtney and his work with the raw, because you don't hear a lot of people talking about the raw. I mean, I went out and got a wheatgrass juicer just so I could make the juice, and it was so much work and so much mess.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot.
Is.
But then you discover ice cubes and you realize that ice cubes are your friend, man. So you
that's what we do. It's just huge batches, prepped, frozen, ready to go. So,
yes. Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
But the problem, so on the keto diet, fiber is really essential, right? So there's a lot of constipation, a lot of impaction issues that happen.
Yeah.
And so getting that fiber, when the reason why microgreens are so important is you're able to have more consumption in your cells, that you're getting that fiber.
Right.
When getting the carbohydrate without the fiber is really a problem, right? So rather than have that, also if you're just drinking juice, you're mixing it with different things, trying to make it taste better.
Right.
Microgreens only have a slight change to them. I had a few, but she had the most. In Canada, though, we can do everything with the plant we want, but we can't seed, like have germinate.
Of course not.
Enough for it. So we're actually, I have a lawyer that has agreed to help me do my,
good.
Putting my application for my section 141 for Haylee for her microgreens.
Nice.
So that she will be able to consume her full prescription.
Oh, that's fantastic. As this story is being told, I hope you guys are finding this interesting and enjoyable enough to continue along. I would love to follow this journey and be a part of, you guys. I wish, hopefully, maybe you can come down and visit our little farm and see.
We'd love to do that.
It'd be
you know what? She's getting so since being on the microgreens, right? Within 41 days, we saw benefits. or microgreens and juice, right? Because
Yeah.
mostly juice, we're switching over because I can only give her so much because of the
Right.
licensings, right?
Exactly.
I remember that when I was having so many seizures, I forget if it was the microgreens or the cannabis. But in 31 days, I had no seizures for 31 days, and then 30 on the 32 days, the seizures came back, and that
But still, 31 days
so
of
long
free.
since I could have so I can not have seizures for 31 days without it. It's been
That's amazing.
very long.
So do you want to tell him, since starting microgreens, and your raw cannabis juice and everything, since you started that, now this is only a quarter of the prescription. I cannot wait to see what is going to happen when we get a full prescription.
Me too. I got shivers thinking about this. It could be
the doctors could, like, I sent them all the findings, right? And there is like 60 pages and over 400 blood tests between January and the end of September. And
can't
like
argue with
the
this.
data, it's all blood data, right?
Yeah.
So I made, when I did all the collections of information and stuff, I was concerned about bias as, you know, oh, well, you're her mom.
Right.
Okay, fair.
Science is science, though, yeah.
I went with only lab testing and only observational stuff written from professionals that worked with her. That way I had no say in it.
Right.
So I was like, this is
Good job,
gonna make
Mom. You're a good mom. I am so pleased with you. You're amazing.
So do you want to tell him all the things you've been able to do now that are different than before the juice? Where have you been? What have you done? What have you been up to? What are you able to do now? Since the juice, what can you do now?
Now I can read a full book. But before that, I could only read half of it.
Wow.
When I was reading half of it, it was every couple of months, or it would be like 5-6 months later until I want to finish it. But I still don't get it finished.
Wow.
Should get through part.
Now now that what I can do now is that I've read from in November and December. I was reading these 2 full books, and after I finished this book, I went on to this book.
Nice.
And then once I finished that one, I went on to this one.
Nice.
And this one.
Oh my goodness.
And this one.
Wow.
And this one.
Holy cow.
Then
I know, right?
This one. Then this one.
Wow.
And this one. And now this one, because I'm still waiting for a book.
Wait for number 4
and 4.5, and then I'll read this one.
The whole series all over again.
Wow.
Of that particular series.
So fantastic. You know,
so this is just since December till now.
Wow.
Yeah, it was from November to
November.
But still, yeah, that's just less than 6 months. That's incredible. You know, I'm wondering, they're learning more and more about the gut biome and the vagus nerve and all of these things that, you know, are so important. And we don't still know much, but we're learning more and more. And it seems to me that a lot of these problems, I mean, there's no way to know. It's so complicated that what's causing what.
Huge gut brain.
And another thing.
Oh yeah, huge connection. Huge.
And another thing that I can do now that I couldn't do before is that I can now go in cars. Like I said before, I couldn't, and now I can go in cars without wheelchair.
Nice.
And I can go to I went to a bar that has moving lights,
Woohoo!
and another bar was called.
Carrie, you went dancing at the one nightclub, and then you went
Nice,
to the karaoke bar.
nice.
And,
Wow, what a
and
change.
now, this
And the Cher concert.
and the Cher concert.
Is that
Really?
impersonator.
And
Wow.
now we're gonna go camping this summer or spring.
Probably before it gets too hot.
Yeah.
Time ago, way before the Jews, I haven't gone camping for how many years?
Since before keto, because we actually went when she was beginning keto because we did not know where things were going to go.
Right.
And then we got on keto and we couldn't do anything because of these hypoglycemic issues for years, right?
Right.
And the reason why she wasn't taken off the diet, so other patients who may come across these issues would normally, so here's the thing, you try cornstarch, you try other foods. This is the interesting part. You try multiple different foods and multiple different things, inulin, and as I mentioned, cornstarch, there's other things too. They'll add in. Now what'll happen is it will raise your glucose. Like if you're working on a somewhat stability. I'm not talking about when I have to completely avoid full stuff. It will work and it will level out your glucose so that your glucose stays more stable, but the ketones will come down. Right. And if the ketones
you don't have
aren't
energy
there for
from
her,
anything,
then what am I doing? Right. So the thing is with raw cannabis, that doesn't happen. It actually appears to be stabilizing the body itself. Her ketones are where they need to be, and the glucose stays where it needs to be, and there's no other issue.
And now, like one of the non-issues is sound used to really bug me, and it still does, but only certain kinds, not that many anymore. No, it's just a few kinds. Even, fans could bug me. Reflection from store glasses in the food, fluorescent lights are still still causing it, but
not as bad.
Not as bad.
Yeah.
So and now, first it was like all of them. Now it's just a few of them.
It kind of makes some sense if you think about it, because your endocannabinoid system is a regulatory system. It causes your body to do the things it's supposed to do, and your body's not doing what it's supposed to do. So it would make sense that as you get these cannabinoids in without having a psychoactive state, or at least not much of one,
you're able to work like supplements, like a vitamin supplement, because the length of time for it to build up in your body.
Right.
And then when we actually did a test where, not on purpose, but we ended up being a test that we documented, and it was 21 days it took after stopping. So we saw all the great results.
Yeah.
Stopped it for 21 days, just a quarter of it. After 21 days, symptoms of the hypoglycemia that started returning.
Wow.
That we had to actually start going, oh, this isn't good. You could start seeing the buildup, and then it was like, that's not so good. Maybe we're going to have to, go right back in. And so it confirmed. And then again, it took a bit to get back up to, where you want to be. So being able to incorporate her full prescription, getting that Section 140, it's going to help us. We've already done multiple strain investigations with this, and in some microgreens as well as the juice and that. Now we're expanding. Year 2, we expand, and we're going to work on expanding the full prescription, expansion on variety, consistency, and efficacy of raw cannabis microgreens.
Have you thought about, and this is something that I'm just curious about, it makes sense. I'm a tinkerer, and I've been doing this, like I said, I think I grew my first plant in 1982. If that puts a point of view. I did my first extraction in 1989, and I've been compounding and formulating ever since. But have you thought about raw concentrates to add to the regimen? Because you can get those higher doses without having to consume so much
I am looking at that. I am looking at that as well. So, oh, there's another thing I was going to mention. So Haley has always had her oral activated cannabis, her nasal oral activated cannabis, and her vaporizer.
Okay.
We pretty much switched her completely over to acidic raw cannabis now as well. There's still more issues in catamenial time, but the hope is that she's going to be able to have the rest of her prescription and that will deal with that, like the rest of the raw amount.
Yeah.
If not, then we'll just put back in the activated cannabis.
Well, I was thinking though, if you were to take a raw concentrate, like a rosin, or even
I actually was looking at that because there is raw concentrate that I can get. So when I calculate in her oral cannabis, I actually have to use a liquid, and I could not buy it off the legal market because I have to set hers at a very high concentration. If I add so her diet is so specific, it's 65% MCT oil. Your body cannot have more than that because then you're not getting enough arrangement of food fats, natural fats from your foods.
Okay.
So with it, also it'll mess with her ketones because it'll increase them even more.
Yeah, your liver gets a little cranky after too much of that
really
MCT.
does.
It's great for a while, but then you don't want a cranky liver.
Yeah, no, not at all. So I was giving her the drops and that and just kind of using an olive oil, which was a little less. But we're talking, I was doing 100 milligram per mil.
Okay.
Right, was what I had to make it. I couldn't just get it. So I was doing that. I haven't tried that yet. There is through research, people that I'm working, the different labs that I'm looking at, BC Children's was talking to me about there is a lab out here that is working on aesthetics research.
Okay.
So I'm going to check out what they're doing with it.
Cool.
I know that there's some great work on extracted acidic cannabis, just the different cannabinoids in the States going on. So
Right.
I know that it's there. We seem a little behind on that area.
Yeah, well, and the problem is the research isn't being shared very well because it's still Schedule 1 over here. And, people are doing it. I've been part of doing my studies, but who do you share it with? How do you get it peer reviewed? How do you get it legitimized? And we're still struggling with that, but there is a lot of work being done and more people as the doors are opening to whatever degree. We're still so far from being there, but at least